I have for you 3 projects that are quick and easy using all Dollar Tree. This is the children's Easter egg that is wooden and the 5 Easter egg ornaments. I'm adding 2 coats of the Waverly chalk paint, and you'll need a set of the vinyl letters. We're going to steal the stake from off of the yard stake from the Dollar Tree Easter Bunny sign, and it will just pop loose. Take the bow off and set it aside. We're going to use it later. Now, once you got that stake broke loose, set the little bunny aside. I'll use it for another project at another time. The idea here is we are going to establish these onto that stake. So paint the stake black, and you'll want to do the letters A, T, and R first of your vinyl letters because they are sitting inward, and we want to make sure they're not covered up. So depending on what letters you use will determine which ones to set. Now I've added the S and the E, and because I need a large E, just one, I decided to take a pencil and sketch it out to match the smaller vinyl E letter. And just take your time and mimic. You can eyeball it, or if you have a Brother Scan and Cut or one of your vinyl cut machines, you could just size your letter and cut it out. I took my black paint marker and, of course, painted in the pencil letter that I drew onto this. We are not finished with this sign, so I want you to stay tuned because it does go through some changes, and I want you to see how I ended up masking the little holes above each letter and how I went about establishing this onto that wooden stake. Unfortunately, I did not make mine out of 1x4s like I wanted to go outside. So go ahead and glue your letter E and S. That will hold the A, T, and R together. Once you have those lined up, use a ruler like I did, and then gently slide the larger E out from under and glue it into place. So grab you a couple of ice cream sticks and your heavy-duty snips. This is how I went about. Instead of using Jenga blocks, which were too large, I decided to take ice cream sticks, 2 of them, and I cut them to size to fit behind the letters. I glued them to stack on top of each other. Because I knew it would show a little bit, I did have to paint them black. As you'll see here, I'm showing you where I ended up placing those. And then I began to set the glue into place on the frontal part of those wood stacks. Once you glue it there, give it a moment, and then switch it around and put glue insurance on the back. Now, I wanted those Easter ears, bunny ears on my Easter sign, so I took burlap. You could use fabric if you wanted to. Make sure they're kind of oval shaped. You're going to need to cut 4 of these. And this is going to cleverly be behind the large E. So once you get all 4 cut out, grab you a chenille stem and cut it in half. Glue the 2 pieces over top of the chenille stem. Don't worry about gluing the chenille stem because we need it to bend. Once you get both your ears made, you can take the pink marker from out of that pack from that large wooden Easter egg and just kind of draw an oval in the center to make the bunny's little pink fur inside of his ear. Grab you a pom-pom ball, get your ears ready, and go ahead and stage them just like I did behind your large E. Now, once I've got them right where I want them, I just hold to it, flip it over, and then start gluing it into place. You'll want to raise it up in the frontal part too and glue just a little bit there. They'll give it more security, especially when you go to bending the chenille stem, because you'll be able to style these ears in about any fashion you want, straight up, sideways. Now, to cover up those holes, this is what I came up with. I took those little felt flowers they had at Dollar Tree, and I glued them over top of the ornament hole. Glued my pom-pom on the letter R to make this sign correct. And this gives this Easter decor a high-end appearance. These signs sell for around $30-something, and we made ours for a little over $2.25. Now, project number 2, You will see this go through many changes, so stay tuned. So the first thing I want to tell you, you can see here I'm using a pencil to trace out my fabric. In trial and error, I learned, guys, you will want to use a template and make your template, then cut your fabric to fit. Using the Antique and Wax by Waverly, you massage it into the wood, and then I began Mod Podging my fabric onto the area where the eggs are on this Easter sign. But I learned something on this. If you use a template, you will be better off and you won't have to trim as much. Now, to cover up that center, I'm going to use a ribbon spool for the shape, and I'm going to pull the top of this off of a used ribbon spool, some chalkboard paper, and I went ahead and wrote Happy Easter with my chalk marker in advance because of the hole there, flipped it over, and glued the chalk paper to that ribbon spool cardboard. And this, once you get this on here, then cut out the excess to make it fit perfectly in the center of that sign. You'll always be able to use the sign at a later date if you change your mind and want to do something different. So I made sure it fit, and I had it trimmed right, then I glued it into place. Now, as you can see, that bow up there, I took that wooden bow off. I took the markers from out of that pack again, and I drew on the fabric. I still wasn't satisfied even after I made me a ribbon bow and glued it up top. I had changed out the fabric, and I still wasn't happy. So I took the lace from off of the burlap ribbon from Dollar Tree, and I glued it on the frontal part of that basket. Pearls would look really nice on this. And voila, here we have. And I trimmed out with some burlap, and I did color the egg as well before I was finally satisfied. Now, project number 3, you are going to love. I bought both these signs because I wanted those metal rabbits. I wanted one facing left, one facing right, inward. Take your putty knife and gently slide them off. They will come off. But stay tuned because I'm going to show you how we are going to mask the rabbit that is still behind once you slide off the metal bunnies. And I prefer Happy Easter versus Easter greetings. So, you guys, that's kind of a personal preference, what you want. Now, once you get your bunnies slid off your sign, take the bow off of the bunnies because we're going to do something truly, truly neat with this. And you could use any kind of bow. Now, I always stage in advance. So here we are, we're staging, and you see the little silhouette bunny in the background. We're going to mask that, and this is how we're going to do it. We're going to grab us some Waverly truffle, or you could use a brown. Just put a coat over it, and then distress the rest of the board with that same color just for a tonal match. Grab you some burlap and size it up just beneath the Happy Easter. Once you've figured out how wide you need it, take your strip out and cut it. And then we are actually going to fray it. But hang on, I'm not through yet. I grabbed those foam eggs and I stole the blue from off of the blue egg. I grabbed those felt flowers again, and we are going to mask everything. So I picked the blue for the little boy, and I picked the pink ribbon off of that other foam Easter egg from Dollar Tree for the little girl. Now, I'm going to go ahead and glue those onto the metal bunnies. Set them aside, size up your burlap, and fray out the edges so it will have that little bit of fray on the sides, and it just makes it look very, very country decor. And very, very nice country decor Easter sign if you prefer. Glue your burlap down, and now you can go ahead and glue your little bunnies on. Grab those felt flowers, and I ended up selecting 3 of those felt flowers. I always remove the paper off of the back, and then I glue them into place. And voila, I took the bow we had off the sign, trimmed the tails, and glued it into place. Have a happy Easter. Do give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Stay tuned and select the playlist next. Until the next DIY, I'll be crafting, y'all.